Hello, Gemini, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your connection to the person that you are currently dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We're looking at all three sides of it. We've got your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So looking at your perception, their perception, and kind of this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. These energies can absolutely be swapped. So if you end up resonating more with the energy to my right than to my left, that is totally fine and totally normal. And if you're a cross watcher, then vice versa. Please remember, these are general readings. They will not resonate fully for everyone. And the point of them is for you to take what helps your personal situation and leave what does not. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. All right, Gemini, as always, I've pulled these overall oracle cards for the reading. There will be a different tarot deck for each side of this connection. I've actually clarified with another tarot deck. So I have 4 tarot decks that I'll be using in this reading, and then obviously my advice deck at the end. But let's go ahead and jump in. You have Stormy with the 9 of Wands. This connection hasn't been easy. There's no doubt about that. I feel like there's been a lot of obstacles here and a lot of just like blockage to the abundant potential that this connection does have. Now, I also feel like throughout these storms that these two people weather together, there's a lot that's learned through those, or a lot that you will be learning, or I don't know. Like I feel like the potential of growth through these storms with this person is pretty pretty big. But I also they have on this side of this connection the Divine Feminine card with the 2 of Wands. So usually the way that my readings come out is it's the feminine energy over here and the masculine energy over here. That has absolutely nothing to do with gender. We all have that feminine, and masculine energy within us. So what I'm seeing is they see this connection is very much in alignment with their path. But I also feel at the same time, like they see you as like a potential like long-term partner for them, and whether this is love or friendships, whatever the case is. Now at the same time though, I feel like there's a lot of like this 9 of Wands energy, like you guys trigger each other a lot. There's a lot of maybe conflict or drama in this connection, and I feel like that is ultimately what kind of holds this person back from this connection. But in between this, you guys have karmic path with the Ace of Swords. So that doesn't necessarily need to mean that this is a karmic connection, but there is definitely some sort of a karmic cycle within this connection. And there's a breakthrough with the Ace of Swords. There's some sort of a breakthrough that is needed to close out this karmic cycle. I don't know what that is yet. We will see when we dive into tarot, but this is definitely like a pretty spiritual connection. I just feel like based on like what I'm feeling with this Stormy card, this divine feminine energy that came out, this karmic cycle that exists, like I definitely feel like there is a pretty spiritual aspect to this connection. So Gemini, let's start with your side. You have Stormy with the 9 of Wands. This is for Gemini's side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. This is for Gemini's side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. One more. This is Gemini's side of this connection, please. Stormy with the 9 of Wands. This is Gemini's side of this connection. The Hierophant with the Temperance and the Chariot. Okay. I feel, Gemini, like you view this person as very like impactful in your life. Like it just feels like you view this person as very important to you. Now, I feel like regardless of the obstacles and the possible like frustration and just the ups and downs of this connection, it just feels like you really do feel like this person is very important to you in your life. Now, I do kind of feel like you're in an energy of waiting for things to move forward with it, because I do feel like this connection is kind of stuck in a pretty stagnant energy. Now, if you're not waiting for things to move forward, you could be waiting for yourself to try to move on from it. You know, if this connection isn't currently together. Either way, I feel like you're kind of stuck in a certain energy with this connection and you're really wanting to get out of that. Now, I also feel like this connection, like with this Hierophant in particular, like it's taught you a lot. I don't necessarily know if that's a lot about yourself, a lot about what you deserve, a lot about what, you know, you want even. But I do feel like it's taught you a lot. Like I'm feeling like a lot. Like not just like, you know, every connection's here to teach us something, right? But this connection I feel like has really almost help you blah, 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 level up in a way. Maybe that be spiritually, personally, possibly kind of all of the above. All right, Gemini side of this connection. Gemini side of this connection. You don't have a lot of hope for the future of this connection. Not in the sense that I feel like you don't see the potential, but I feel like, okay, the obstacles that exist in this connection have been where your focus has been. Like I feel like the obstacles have become so prominent here that it's hard for you to see a clear path forward. Now, it's interesting because this person, they do kind of view you as like someone who aligns with what they want out of life. But at the same time, I feel like that potentially scares them a lot or makes them very like almost stressed out, so they choose to like avoid that. And I feel like that's why you have a hard time having any kind of faith or hope when it comes to the future of this connection, is because it, you know, the obstacles seem so big that it just doesn't feel like it almost just doesn't feel worth it to you, Gemini, is what I feel like. This is Gemini side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Gemini side of this connection to the person they are dealing with, please. Okay. The Knight of Swords with the Queen of Pentacles here. You could be dealing with an earth sign. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. You definitely don't have to be. There's that Six of Swords in reverse. This was this feeling of being stuck that I was. Because you see the long-term potential too with this Ten of Pentacles. But it's almost like this potential isn't going to be possible until there is this cycle that completes. Because, Gemini, I'm going to be honest with you here a little bit. I think you're kind of chasing this connection. Now, not necessarily like when I talk about chasing, it doesn't mean that you're actively chasing this person. It doesn't mean you're like texting them all the time or, you know, all up in their business or anything like that. Just chasing is a very energetic thing too, meaning that you're giving all of your, you know, your focus and your attention to the connection instead of what the connection is trying to help you learn about yourself within. We all do that. You know, we all have a tendency to focus on, you know, what's outside instead of what's going on inside. But I feel like I feel like there's potential in this connection, but I feel like in order for this cycle to complete first, there's this need to kind of slow down and shift your focus within, because I feel like this connection is it's trying to teach you a lot about yourself and about your path and about what's best for you. But I also feel like it's doing that in a way that has been possibly pretty painful. Let me get more here. This is for Gemini side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. Gemini side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. This is for Gemini. The Justice in reverse with the Four of Cups in reverse. See, you feel like you haven't received what it is you deserve out of this connection. I feel like that's why it's kind of getting to the point where it doesn't really feel worth it, because yeah, there's the 10 of Wands. Like, you're starting to feel kind of burdened by it. Like, it's like it's not adding to your abundance, it's adding to your, like, your heaviness, or the like burden, like it's burdening you, it's not adding to your abundance, is essentially what I'm saying. Now, I wonder why, because again, I see this potential. I could be dealing with a water sign to, I'd say, um, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, but I just call them out as I see them. You definitely don't have to be. It's like you're holding on and hoping that things change in this connection. Now, I also feel like you're holding on, hoping things change because you see that potential. And it's really important that you don't hold on, to the potential of something. That ultimately can lead you to holding on to something that isn't really that great for you, right? Now, I'm not saying that's what's happening, but just something to be aware of. All right, Gemini side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Oof. This is Gemini side of this connection. 10 of Cups in reverse. Yeah, okay. You have certain expectations of this connection, of this person, of who you want them to be, how you want them to treat you, how you deserve to be treated ultimately. But I just feel like it hasn't, like, provided you with what it is that you feel you deserve. Like, it genuinely feels like it's drained you more than it has, like, added to your abundance. Now, if this person hurt you, I feel like you haven't gotten, like, your justice in a way. Like, you haven't gotten, I don't necessarily know if closure is the right word, but, like, I don't know. It just feels like you still feel very, like, I feel anger. Like, I do. I feel anger. I don't necessarily know if it's, like, anger that's turned into resentment or what, but there's definitely some anger here. I just feel like you thought at one point that this connection had the potential to make you very happy. And although that potential is still there, it hasn't lived up to it. Gemini side of this connection, it just hasn't lived up to that potential. Now, at the same time, it's taught you a lot. So maybe it has lived up to its potential, but in a different way than what you thought. Gemini side of this connection. Yeah, there's that karmic cycle. There's that King of Pentacles again. Moon in reverse, Nine of Swords in reverse, and King of Pentacles. These are all upright. Yeah, okay, King of Pentacles, Nine of Swords, and the Moon. Is this? That's upside down. Okay. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So this is a karmic cycle. Because this connection to this person I'm bringing, like, kind of being this King of Pentacles here, they really poke at your fears and in your insecurities when it comes to love. Like, so much so that I feel like their connection to you brought most of these to the surface. And that's why I feel like you're ultimately holding on. When we meet someone who reflects back at us our fears and insecurities, it's really easy to get very attached to needing them or wanting them to show us the love that we, have been lacking in past relationships and in childhood and things like that. And we mistake our attachment to what we expect for the outcome for love. And we expect them to be for us what they might not really even be capable of being for us. And that's really no one's fault, right? Now, I haven't dove into this person's energy, but I do feel like there's this level of you that's, I don't necessarily know if disappointed is the right word, but you have faced a lot of kind of pain and suffering regarding this connection because it just hasn't turned out the way that you thought it would, and you know it could. And I feel like that's been the hardest thing for you, is you see this potential, but then it doesn't live up to that, and that brings you a lot of hurt and ultimately kind of pokes these fears and insecurities and makes things a little bit harder to see, like, clearly. So I feel like that's the biggest thing, because remember, there's some sort of a breakthrough here, some sort of a karmic cycle that you're needing to break out of. Let's get this person's energy toward Gemini. This person's energy toward Gemini, please. One more. This person's energy toward Gemini. Ooh, okay. Ooh. 10 of Wands, 8 of Swords, Strength in reverse. This person has a lot of limiting beliefs when it comes to love. And I feel like those limiting beliefs are really reflected back at them by you. I feel like this is a pretty mirroring connection, because there's that 10 of Wands, right? This connection kind of has started being a burden to you, and they kind of view it as the same way. Now, that does not mean that they view you as a burden. It means that they view the fears and emotions and insecurities and all of that this connection brings up for them as a burden. This connection is difficult for them to handle, because with the Strength in reverse card, they don't have, I feel like, a lot of confidence in themselves when it comes to being able to create and sustain a healthy long-term connection. And although that potential exists with you, if this connection is still together, it actually scares them more than anything, because I feel like that causes them to have to face, seeing the potential of someone causes them to have to face their fears, doubts, and insecurities. And I feel like they don't know how to do that. This is for this person's energy toward Gemini, or yet, right? Like, they don't know how to do that maybe yet. This person's energy toward Gemini, please. This person's energy toward Gemini. There's the Two of Wands. That same Two of Wands is right here. So I feel like it's interesting, because it's like they want things to come together in a healthy way. But I feel like at the same time, and this has been a theme in a lot of the readings this week, is like at the same time, their actions go against that. So the way that they act or communicate maybe makes it seem like they don't want this to come together in a healthy way. But it's not that they don't want it, it's that they actively do not know how to sustain it and to obtain it and sustain it. And so I feel like what happens is, like anyone that doesn't really know how to face or handle their fears, doubts, and insecurities, they sabotage. And they sabotage this connection because they don't know how to handle it. Like, at the end of the day, it's like it's too intense for them. And it is a very spiritual connection in a way, because of that intensity that's kind of behind it. That's why I feel like it's pushing both of you guys to grow quite a bit. This person's energy toward Gemini. Page of Wands. There's that Hierophant in reverse. Page of Wands. Now you have the King of Wands. You could be dealing with fire sign. I'm pretty sure I've called out every single sign except for air. which is what you are. So, but that's interesting because there's the King and Queen of Wands there. This connection really pokes at their inner child energy. And so if they seem like overly reactive to your energy, if they seem, you know, like frustrated and you don't really understand why, or like if they create arguments out of nowhere, this person is trying to protect themselves in a way. I also feel like there's one person in this that is very traditional and another that it's very not so traditional. So one person can maybe be more like spiritual, the other person way more logical. Just with the Hierophant reverse and the Hierophant here. And I don't necessarily feel like those, I don't know, that could go either way. And that could create kind of a, like butting heads, because your views and perceptions of the world, I feel like, are very different. But it also doesn't feel like that's something you can't get through. It feels like that's like just an aspect of this connection. But I do feel like this person is very, they have probably a pretty wounded inner child and doesn't really feel like they're doing the healing. So that wounded inner child comes up a lot, I feel like, in between, like this connection. Like, I think that you guys are more on the same page than you realize when it comes to how this connection makes you feel and how it triggers you. This person's energy toward Gemini. Oof. This person's energy toward Gemini. I feel like this connection pokes at both your insecurities. This person's connection to Gemini, this person's energy toward Gemini, please. The World. The World with the Five of Coins. This person, in losing this connection, they do feel a sense of loss there. But at the same time, I feel like they struggle to handle that loss in a very mature way, or that like for instance, they could be afraid of losing you, but they don't ever show it, or they don't say that, or they, if this has been a loss and this connection isn't together anymore, they feel that loss, but they don't communicate that in any way. I'm not saying this person's necessarily immature. I haven't seen that Page of Cups yet, but I do feel like it feels like this person hides a lot of how they feel from you. And so, of course, the way that you're going to view things is through the lens of your fears and your insecurities, right? Because that's the first way that we always view things. We view things through the lens of what we fear or what we are the most insecure about. For instance, if we are afraid that someone, if we've had, this is not what's happening in this connection. This is an example of what I mean by that. If you've experienced someone cheating on you in your past and you're in a current connection, you are going to see that person's actions through the lens of your fear of getting cheated on again, right? So that's what I mean by that, is like this person pokes at those fears and insecurities, and you view their actions or inactions or words or lack of words through your lens of fear and insecurity. So they might feel something very different than what you think, but because of their lack of communication or, whatever the case is, I feel like it pokes and brings up a lot of your fears and your insecurities. This person's energy toward Gemini. This person's energy toward Gemini, please. Yeah, see, I said I didn't feel like this person was emotionally mature. I hadn't seen the Page of Cups yet. Look at that, Page of Cups. Page of Cups in reverse, the Page of Swords in reverse. I feel like this person has a tendency to communicate with some emotional immaturity. And I feel like that ultimately is what brings up these fears and these insecurities you have, because I feel like they communicate from a place of like trying to poke at those fears and those insecurities, like trying to get a rise out of you, because that might be how they feel safe in connections, right? That doesn't mean that it makes that okay. But I do feel like there's this level of this person. I mean, I said it, right? I said it. I don't necessarily know that they're immature, but now we see the Page of Wands, the Page of Cups, and the Page of Swords. I do feel like they're a little immature for you, in comparison to you. Though you have the Knight of Swords, so I just feel like they have 3 pages, right? Like that's. But there is this karmic cycle that exists where I feel like you get very reactive to their emotional immaturity, and that is ultimately what creates most of the like tension, I guess, in this connection. I guess it's about learning not to take that so personally, like their inability to be emotionally mature and to communicate their feelings and to be honest with themselves about how they feel, like learning not to take that so personally. This person's energy toward Gemini. This person's energy toward Gemini. See, they do want this 3 of Cups. Like they want this to come together in a healthy way, but that's also with the 3 of Wands, that's so outside of their comfort zone. Because with this Hierophant, it's like, I feel like they have more to learn before they will fully be ready for this. Ready for you. This was what was the they're not ready for you reading I did? I think it was Virgo. If you're dealing with a Virgo, there could be some messages in that reading for you too, because it feels very kind of similar. Like they have a lot more to learn before they're ready to have this. Like they want this, but it's like they're not ready for it. And it's funny because there's the Queen of Pentacles again. So I don't know. I feel like it's interesting because I feel like they want this, but they make you feel like they don't. They make you feel like they, like for instance, like they can make you feel the opposite in some way, shape, or form. Because I feel like I don't know, like they don't want to be wrong or they don't want to be too vulnerable or whatever the case is, and that's that emotional immaturity, right? But okay, we're going to hop on over to the extended. You have Karmic Path with Ace of Swords in between this connection. I'm going to pull 9 different messages, and then I have an advice card to pull at the end. So this is kind of looking at what is the purpose of the connection, what is there for you to learn from this, Gemini. Thank you so much, as always, for your support of my channel. I do hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you are needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. Bye, Gemini.